Yeah, hello everyone. Today let's talk about the management concepts and leadership in hotel industry. Well, whenever we talk about management concepts, the first thing which comes in mind is business. So when we are talking about business, there are various type of businesses which are involved in the economy. Hotel industry, which plays very important role in the economy and in the tourism industry, has a huge contribution in economy. Let's understand what management is, or we will talk more about the people who are responsible about contributing it with the various theories of management, which is further giving it in the form of art and science, or popularly known as management as an art or a science. While going through this presentation, you will get to know more about the Taylor's contribution and the Henry Fayol's principle of management, and how Maslow's theory of human needs is further interconnected in all these spheres of business and further on with the hospitality industry. To introduce further management as how management looks like, or what does a manager do? So manager or a management has a responsibility to accumulate the right knowledge to get the work done from the people with the right technique or tactics or with the right technology. That's how they are able to do all the work. There's another very easy way to remember the management this example is derived from the Henry Fayol's theory, which talks about a very nice saying which says, "Dad, you see USSR?" And a dad is talking to his son saying, "Oh, I see." So, what do we derive out of this conversation? It has certain words in it, which actually helps us understanding how management looks like. When we split "Dad, you see USSR" and the answer of dad by saying, "Oh, I see," it has certain words in it. The first goes D, derived from dad, which says division of work. A, which talks about authority and responsibility. D, talks about discipline. U, talks about unity of command. C, talks about centralization and decentralization in the company. U further talks about unity of direction. S talks about scalar chain. S further talks about stability of tenure. R talks about remuneration. And when the dad answers, "Oh, I see," it means O, order, I, initiative, S, subordination of individual interest to general interest, E, equity, and then further E is for esprit de corps. This derivation has been taken from Henry Fayol's theory, which talks more about how the management is being effectively done. He is considered as the father. Along with him, the people who are majorly responsible to shape up management is Coates, Mary Parker, F.W. Taylor, and Lawrence. In every definition, the person behind us has often talked about it either as an art or a science, where a team is being taken care by a mentor who has a vision to get the work done, who has the responsibility to create a forecast and plan, and to organize how to command, when to coordinate, and how to control. In the hotel industry, when we try to understand the nature of management, how it looks like, as hospitality sector has various disciplines, various departments, sub-departments, so it is multidisciplinary. It is dynamic in nature because you are not certain about the queries, you are not certain about the type of business getting generated. You will be certain about the action plan, but you will not be certain about the reaction of the customer. You will be certain about how the relativity will be there in the departments and sub-departments. You need to have the right articulation to understand the interlink between departments. So in the nature of management, we'll study more about the management as an art and science. Science, when you exactly know what the answer would be, and art, when you are not certain and you are trying to understand how the answer will look like. Your explanation and your understanding towards the judgment of coordinating things or the repercussion of your understanding will create your understanding towards management as an art. How management as a profession looks like, universally how the management is, and how management is situational in nature. That talks about the nature of management. When we talk about management in the hospitality industry, it caters to all the peripheries where it is certain as well as uncertain. When we talk about certain, it is science. And when we talk about we are not aware about the consequences and the perceived value or perceived notion of the customer, it is an art. Now let's understand the importance of management. Management, obviously, it is very, very important in daily lives of people and organization. And in hospitality industry, it is very, very much important because hotel is always run with a vision. If a management has a vision for the right allocation of resources and then further the effective utilization of resources, then only we can talk about the right management happening, or then only we can talk about the success of a company. For that, management is required to develop right resources. Management is required to ensure the continuity in the organization by creating the right demand and supply of resources, by creating the right consumption of resources, and integrating various interest groups. When we are talking about interest groups, that's basically talking about interlinking the functioning of various departments involved in the company. And then the stability in the society talks about working with the economy, working with the dynamics of the economy parallelly. Here are the various functions of management wrote by various writers, where you have Henry Fayol's theory, you have Kulik's theory, you have Davis' theory, Priest's theory, and Coutts' theory. In every theory, everybody is talking about there has to be a vision, there has to be a plan, there has to be an organizing committee, people coming together, controlling it, commanding it, coordinating it, bringing in the right staff, and then there has to be a plan of action in the form of direction, the right coordination, the right reporting in the hierarchy, and the right execution of work in the form of right controlling. But every theory is different than that of another. So as we'll move further, we will realize how these theories are different and why Henry Fayol or why somebody else is known as the father. Reason they have been able to cater to each and every dynamics involved. Now let's understand the functions of management. The theory can come from any person, but the person behind will have a vision that it has to have right planning, right controlling, right direction, right staffing, and right organizing. What planning exactly is? Planning means the right forecast. What exactly the plan of action would be? What a company or an entity is looking forward to achieve. Let's say a hotel has opened up its property in any area. Is there a right demographic profile study being conducted? Is there a right analysis of market dynamics being done? Is there a right study to understand whether the hotel will do well or not, or the restaurants or subsection or any expansion along with the hotel which is need to be planned, or if there's any investment which need to be done? Is there a right understanding or a knowledge or a plan of action has been done? How the investments will come? How the company will further generate the revenue? When we'll go for organizing. Organizing talks about the group of people or an entity, how they bring along the resources to get the plan done. Staffing takes care of appointing the right person for the right job. Directing means how they are being directed, how there is a flow of information in the organization. And controlling talks about how every department is being controlled and yet in hierarchy being rightly controlled from top to bottom. These departments are not just connected with each other, but they communicate directly as well. That is the reason you can see the star in between. Directing talks a lot about leadership skills. It has supervision, motivation, leadership, and communication. Supervision talks about controlling each and every plan of action of the people working in the sub-department of the hotel. Motivation, that every person is looking forward to achieve. Every person is looking forward to grow so that the company can grow. Leadership talks about the right vision. If there's a right vision, everybody will be motivated. And if there's a right supervision, it has to have a right communication. When we are talking about communication, this talks about understanding of policy and principles of the organization so that everybody is motivated to work together. When we are talking about managerial skills and levels, this talk about the flow of information, the time of knowledge, skills which is required for the smooth functioning in the organization. How technical department or human skills, when we are talking about, this talks about interpersonal skills. Conceptual skills talk about the knowledge of the product line, and design skills talk about the productivity. Technical skills has a lot to do with the top level management in the hierarchy. How efficient they are for the flow of information because they are the one who are responsible to get the administrative job done. Middle level managers are responsible to have the execution. When we are talking about execution, they have to have a lot of human skills. Human skills talk about being cooperative, being able to understand the need of the employees so that the right training can be done if required. Conceptual skills are often required at the low level or the supervisory level because they are the people who are responsible for getting the work done. And design skills because of they are the people who are responsible for every job which is happening in the organization. So you have operative level, you have low level, you have medium level, and you have top level managers in the organization. Now let's understand the hierarchy chart. How the top level, medium level, and low level in the organization communicate with each other. Your top level consists of CEOs, CFOs, CEOs, and presidents. They are the executives who are there with the right leadership skills and to take care with the right empowerment of authority as well as responsibility so that they can delegate the work in the organization. Middle level people, middle level department or middle level is the main operational level in the organization. It consists of the department heads, your sales managers, and your goals of departments. When we are talking about goals of department, this talks about every department has individual goals to achieve so that all together the company can grow. This talks about the problem solving, team building, talent building, performance building, etc. It means all the training and development takes care by the middle level management. Here, company come together and follow the designated task by the top level management, and the low level management follows what middle manager further pass on for the execution of work. You have your store managers, your crew leaders, your day-to-day business is being taken care by the low level of the department. It has very, very important and significant role to play in the hierarchy because it takes care of the emotional intelligence and coaching for performance. So technically, the top level is identifying the vision for the organization. Middle level is making sure that there's the right accumulation of resources so that low level can do the right work with the right emotional intelligence. And if at all any training is required to be imparted, they are being groomed well to get the work done. This talks about how the evolution of management thought came. Well, honestly, I believe since the inception of management or since the inception of business, the thought of management would definitely have been there. But the people who made it more liberated and more organized are the people like Henry Fayol or Taylor or Mayo or Maslow or Charles Babbage, who are responsible to establish the vision so that companies can have the right marketing environment, they can have the right approach towards handling the business and develop the culture so that every employee is being empowered and so that they are able to manage all the dynamic changes in the environment for the right business understanding. We often get to hear whether management is an art or a science. What do you mean by when we say science, or what scientific management is? Scientific management talks about or holding the right proximity of work. Like for example, there is an SOP in the kitchen department which talks about this much product requires these many ingredients, let's say, has if been done at this particular temperature, cooked with these all understanding and nourishments, the final product layout will look like exactly this. So here we can talk about scientific management being part of in hospitality industry. But when there's a tough customer in the lobby area and he may be an important customer to the company, who is responsible to get you an 80% of the revenue. But whenever we are talking about handling the tough customer, it is an art which plays a very, very important role because you need to be very, very articulative. Whenever we talk about the scientific management, it has a lot of elements and principles involved because it talks about the job analysis, functionality, and standardization of resources so that everybody is cooperating in the right harmony and company is trying to obtain the maximum output through development of workers. When we are talking about development of workers, it means it has a lot of training and development happening in the scientific management format, which is very much required in hotel industry. Then comes the scientific tools. The tools could be separation of planning and doing, functional foremanship, job analysis, standardization. Whenever you would be going through everything, you will realize in management, what is more required to have a right vision? If you have a right vision, then only you can talk about understanding the right staffing, understanding the right analysis, understanding the right financial deficits which would be there for the right control of the dynamics of economy. Then only you can talk about the right cooperation and harmony in the organization which yield you maximum output. This slide talks about what an ideally workshop manager profile looks like. Let's say in hotel industry, how the profile of any manager looks like. You will have somebody who is responsible for planning and you'll have somebody who is responsible for the production or generation of revenue for that matter. So the person who is planning in charge will have certain downline through him to them. He would be responsible to obtain the desired result and production team will have his own downline. All the downline coming together will further form the baseline which does all the important work in the organization. Okay? Here it comes what we spoke about. I hope you all can remember now. Looking at this chart, do you remember the conversation between a child and a dad? Where the child says, "Dad, you see USSR?" And dad says, "Oh, I see." Now please see the D over here, the division of work, authority, discipline, which talks about dad, person in command, the top level of the hierarchy. Unity of command. It means the people who are there in the organization. Unity of direction. Interests, remuneration, centralization, scale chain, order, equity, stability, initiatives, and aspirity corps. So technically, the flow of information goes something like this. Abraham Maslow, he is considered to be very, very important motivator in management who has set a theory which is considered as a Maslow need hierarchy. Whenever I talk to my students, I often mention this, how this theory looks like, what physiological level in the Maslow hierarchy of needs look like, what are the safety needs, what are the belonging needs, what are the esteem needs, and what are the self-actualization needs, what are the social needs, what are the security needs, psychological, esteem, self-actualization, and so on and so forth. When we are talking about psychological needs, it caters to the basic need of the people available in the organization. So whenever we are talking about the hierarchy, the low-level management can often coordinate themselves with this type of needs, where they are only interested to generate the basic needs and where company is only interested to get basic job done through them. Then you have security needs. As you are growing further in the job hierarchy, you will realize as from low to medium level manager you are trying to migrate, you are trying to find a secure job for yourself. Here, the company is also looking forward to have a secured manager. So, it is interchangeable, where a company needs some security in the form of somebody who has a long shelf life with the company, so that the company's policies and company's training is always being fruitful in the longer run. Then comes social needs. Social needs talk about you are trying to grow with the company. You want to have your own house, you want to have your own car. Company wants to have the manager or the assistant managers of medium line who can be furthermore developed to further climb in the top level of the management. Then comes esteem needs, where you want to be the top of the hierarchy. And company wants the directors or second in line with directors who can take the orders and the vision of the controlling team from here and take it further for the execution to the down level of the organization. And last but not the least comes self-actualization. Here you will find the CEOs who are top of the line. But reaching the stage of a self-actualization is not that easy. You have to climb all the ladders so that you can make the company grow and company can rely fully on you for your vision. Top of the line, everybody wants to be. What is the most important skill which is required after you reach the self-actualization? Is it just leadership or is it just vision? Is it just identifying your inner wants or identifying your family wants, your esteem, prestige, the reality, becoming what actually you want to be, purpose, the situation, and the physical serving of you to the company and companies to you in return. So leadership is the ability to influence a group towards the achievement of goals. That is how we understand leadership as a leader who needs to have a vision to sail the company, who is responsible for the right productivity of the hotel and the growth of the hotel chain. Whenever we would be moving in life and in companies, we will come across various types of leaders. When we are talking about various types of leaders, who are the leaders? Who are the visionaries behind a company or the organization? Are they transformation leaders or are they transactional leaders? When we are talking about transformation leaders, they need to be independent, inspirational. They have to have some achievement so that people can look up to a team, can look up to them. They have to have the ability to take the right initiative at the right time. Are they change-oriented or they are very static towards it? Are they proactive or are they reactive? When we are talking about transactional leaders, they always require clarification or counseling. They are passive. They need direction. They are task-oriented though, but they are very practical and very influencing. Moral of the story is, here we are talking about natural leaders or here we are talking about directed leaders. Here probably we are talking about the owners of the company. Here we are talking about maybe the appointed directors who are there in the top. Now let's understand the important functions of leadership. Leadership means what? You are looking for a person, you are looking for an objective, you are looking for a vision. Are you looking for a statement? Are you looking for a line of action? Or you're looking for all? So technically, you're looking for a line of control. You are looking for somebody, an entity, or a person in command to give you the right action who is there as a counselor or who is a representative, who is there to take care of all your flaws, to mentor you, to sail the ship, to furnish a good working climate, who is there to cooperate with the subordinates, create right followers, and have a right leadership effective style so that the whole company has a right flow of information from top to bottom and bottom to top. This talks about the leadership style. Leadership style can never be categorized in one word, whether it's just autocratic or it's just transactional, it's just democratic, it's just transformational, or it's just lies. I believe it's a combination of all. A person needs to have a free rein and needs to be very benevolent, needs to be very competent and very strict. At the same time, need to be very, very autocratic so that with the right vision, a person is being able to sail the organization. This slide talks about corporate social responsibility. These days, this is a very catchy word. Everybody is talking about corporate social responsibility. We need to understand what corporate social responsibility is. Corporate social responsibility is an initiative what a government is seeking from the corporates or the companies who are working in the economy. When we're talking about corporate social responsibility, it is the initiative of the organization to give back the society, because society further helps any organization to grow. Society gives the right people. Society gives the right healthy competition. Society creates right special interest groups, right support of government, suppliers, press. Further on, the whole economy creates a right balance through the right political policies, through the right social policies, social securities, and technical infrastructure, which is further on being consumed in the organization for the growth. So what an organization consists of? Organization just doesn't consist of the top to down hierarchy of the people who are working in the organization. It consists of its investors, shareholders, promoters, government, customers who are consuming its products, competition who is continuously keeping the company on its toes for the continuous innovation and development. The technical support what the economy is creating so that the company can grow. Social security, what the government policies is giving for the company for its growth. Political security in the form of formulation of right policies and principles so that company can grow. Right economic empowerment through right bank loans, right economic facilitation through tax freeze, through parks, by giving the subsidies so that company can grow. So at the end of the day, if the society is doing so much for the corporates, or society is creating so much of an opportunity for the company to grow, what is the responsibility of company to give back to the society? So government in all across world has created various taxes in the form of corporate social responsibility fund, where the corporates has a responsibility to give back to the society in the form of charity, which goes in the CSR fund. CSR is a very, very broader perspective of doing business. Is it just a responsibility, or is it just an opportunity to say thanks to the society for its sincerity? Or is it again an opportunity to create a long-term touch with your customer? Is it trying to create an economy, an ecosystem around a company for the long-term growth by creating the ethical values among the students, among the customers, among the people who are working in that company? Or is it just towards the government? There are a lot of arguments who are in favor of social responsibility. According to me, I believe CSR is towards the consumers, because since the society has generated so much opportunity for the company, it is the responsibility of the company to give back a sustainable ecosystem to the society. It is towards shareholder because it increases the goodwill of a company, which further on impact the share prices. It is towards the employee because employees feel more secure working for a company which has a more goodwill. It is towards trade unions, which are furthermore confident towards the policies and principles drafted by a good company. It is towards government, because one, government is getting a good company and good CSR fund and good vision of a company towards the contribution in the society. At the same time, government is becoming more liberal for the corporate growth. At the same time, there's an argument which goes in favor of social responsibility. It doesn't just take care of give and take or creating a better environment. It reduces the state interventions and it creates the right channel of authority and responsibility. Whenever we are talking about the management in whole, we are talking about a company, a leader, a vision, a team of people who have the right vision towards the organization, right policies, right infrastructure, maybe technical, non-technical, managerial, government intervention, technical intervention, policies, safety and securities for the company. And then we are talking about the leadership qualities so that the right accumulation of resources is there so that the company can obtain the desired result. And in the end, we are always talk about the corporate social responsibility where the corporate is giving back to the society. With this, thank you so much.